See no lights. We'll keep moving. 825-20, please.
Resolution 825-20, a resolution authorizing the county mayor on behalf of Hamilton County, Tennessee, the Health Services Division operating as the Hamilton County Health and Social Services Department to sign a contract with the Tennessee Department of Health in the amount of $219,200 to provide sexually transmitted infection and HIV education, prevention, and control services in Hamilton County for the time period of July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026.
All right, thank you. Still no lights. Excuse me. Dr. Mackey, do you have a question, sir?
No match, but this one does have a cost to it, to the county.
Looks like they both say county match 0. Ms. Mahoney, is that correct?
You're correct.
Perfect, thank you.
Yes, sir. Madam Clerk, 825-21, please.
Resolution 825-21, a resolution to authorize the county mayor to enter into and execute a contract with the state of Tennessee, Tennessee Commission of Children and Youth to receive $45,000 to be used for the court-appointed special advocate program within the Hamilton County Juvenile Court.
See no lights. Did you want to add a little context to it, or are you good? Mr. Grant?
Okay with it. I don't have any context. I think this is a grant that the commission, that we've been receiving for about 40 years and that the commission generally is okay with.
Alright.
So,
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, 825-22, please.
Resolution 825-22, a resolution approving the purchase of one Volvo hydraulic crawler excavator from Ascendum Machinery from the Sourcewell Purchasing Cooperative amounting to $90,938 for the Highway Department and authorizing the county mayor to sign any contracts necessary to implement this resolution.
Okay, moving on. 825-23, please.
Resolution 825-23, a resolution approving the purchase from the Tennessee statewide contract SWC 209 vehicles to be utilized as unmarked vehicles for an amount not to exceed $154,895 from the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office and authorizing the county mayor to sign any contracts necessary to implement this resolution.
Thank you, ma'am. Sheriff, anything to add?
Around the asset forfeiture fund, where the funding's coming from, it's budgeted.
Commissioner Hilton, do you have a question, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chair. Sheriff, how many vehicles is going to purchase? Hopefully more than one.
It is more than one.
Out of the asset forfeiture,
Yeah.
five or six.
Yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Nothing further. Madam Clerk, 825-24, please.
Resolution 825-24, a resolution approving the purchase of vehicles from the Tennessee statewide contract SWC 209 in an amount not to exceed $847,000 for the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office and authorizing the county mayor to sign any contracts necessary to implement this resolution.
Sheriff, anything?
This is out of budgeted capital funds. To give you specifics, this will purchase 12 marked vehicles, one court transport van, 2 vehicles for criminal investigations, 1 for civil warrants, 1 for uniform, an additional for uniform services. That should be all of them.
These all addition to the fleets, or are these
These are
replacements?
replacement.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Baker?
Yeah, this is actually for you, sir. What does the P under there mean, under the number?
So that's new. That's been newly added to our
Does
agenda.
anybody know what that is? What
I
is
can
it?
answer that.
A new system, so,
Yeah, it's part of the new
so
system.
Mary Frances, you want to?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, It's for the
Clerk?
clerk's
Yeah,
office,
go ahead,
yeah.
Bert.
It has to do with if there's an expiration date on an item and purchasing desires to keep up with that item and they keep it on a calendar, they no longer, by putting a P, it requires us to not keep up with it. Other items that have expiration dates, we keep up with on a
So
calendar.
is P for purchasing?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Kind of.
I just knew it wasn't for
Kinda.
police.
Yeah.
One correction, one of those
Sir.
vehicles is an addition. It's the Harley Davidson motorcycle.
Okay.
We're in need of an additional for that for training.
One addition. Got it, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on, Madam Clerk, 825-25, please.
Resolution 825-25, a resolution accepting the bid of BioWaste LLC for 3-year contract unit pricing with the option to renew for additional two-year terms beginning September 1st, 2025 through July 31st, 2028 for medical and pharmaceutical waste disposal services for EMS and various county departments, and authorizing the county mayor to sign any contracts necessary to implement this resolution.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Chair, you had a question, sir?
Just a comment, Christie, this is probably not the time to say it, but thank you for this. This morning, picking up trash and it raining.
Yes, sir.
That was awesome. And it wasn't raining hard, just sprinkling, but I do appreciate, I think it's good that we're out there 7 days a week and we're trying to take care of our community. So thank you.
Well, we definitely don't take them out when it's actually dangerous to be out, but we
Correct.
do capitalize on any opportunity to.
Well, rain or shine, we
clean.
got to work, right?
That's exactly right.
Like the post office. So thank you.
Commissioner Highland, you have a question, sir?
Just for Christie, I want to thank her. I know Chris Jackson was one of my wrestlers and football player. He's not nearly as sweet as you. He won't melt in the rain.
All right, seeing no more lights, Mr. Chair, that was the last finance item, sir.
Okay, we'll move in building economic development.
Thank you, Chairman. Madam Clerk, could you read 825-26, please?
Resolution 825-26, a resolution authorizing the county mayor to enter into and execute a lease agreement between Hamilton County and the city of Soddy Daisy for property located at 9531 West Ridge Trail Road, Soddy Daisy, Tennessee.
Chief Roddy, could you run down this thing for us?
Yes, sir. This is an agreement between Hamilton County and the leadership of Soddy Daisy so that they can take act. I'm going to let that one go over me. Someone else spoke up just then. It's so Soddy Daisy can basically take control of the former Sequoia Health Department clinic that we closed earlier this year. I believe their plans are to go in and do some minor renovations and expand their senior programming out in that area.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
No lights, so let's move on to
Commissioner
Oh, I'm
Shipley.
sorry. Commissioner Shipley.
So on the behalf of City of Soddy Daisy, this building's gonna be a huge asset for the old history of Soddy Daisy. We have maintained a community center and a senior center. Senior center basically be going there, and we have always welcomed anybody from Hamilton County into our community center free of charge. This is going to give us an opportunity to make our senior center much bigger and accommodate a lot more county residents. It's going to be good. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Shipley. Madam Clerk, could you read 825-27?
Sharp.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, oh, thank you. Thank you, Chairman. I was just curious, I'm sure it's in our packet, but could someone, I'd like to see the terms of the lease if I could, please.
We'll go through and get a copy of that.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, Chairman.
Madam Clerk. 825-27.
Resolution 825-27, a resolution adopted for the purpose of amending the Hamilton County, Tennessee zoning resolution regulating development within the unincorporated area of Hamilton County, Tennessee to minimize danger to life and property due to flooding and to maintain eligibility for participation in the National Flood Insurance Program.
Mr. Blaylock, could you speak to this, please? Very timely resolution.
Yeah, Ronnie Blaylock, 4005 Cromwell Road. What this is where FEMA has been doing the studies probably for 2+ years now. They finally got all the paperwork in, got all the firms and the maps sent to us. The county had to run a thing in the paper, I think, and it had to have a 90-day waiting period. So it's to the point now that our commission has to adopt what FEMA has put in place. We cannot change what they've put in place by November 28th. But after November 28th, if Hamilton County Commission, residents, whatever, if we want to, I guess, go above and beyond what FEMA has put in our regulations, we can change it after that point and send everything back to FEMA and let them approve it. But what we have on resolution today, the county pretty much at this point, we've got to adopt this to keep our flood insurance and all that in place.
Can you give us updated flood maps?
They did. We've got all of them out at our office at 4005 for the whole county, cities.
Could you shoot them to Patricia? I think a lot of the commissioners would like to see that.
Yeah, we can. They're full-size maps, but we can give them to Patricia if y'all would like to look at.
Oh, we don't have like a PDF of it?
Not to my knowledge.
No
I don't
joke.
think they
Okay.
do unless engineering may possibly have it. I don't know if Nathan knows if engineering's got the new ones on.
We can try to scan them at my office and get you a PDF.
We can get them to you one way or the other, but what I've got is just the full-size maps. If he's got a printer, we will scan them and get them to y'all before next
Okay.
week.
Thank you,
Because
sir.
there is areas that they're taking things out of the flood. There's areas it's added to, and what we was explained for many years ago when these firms was done, it was done by transits. Now they're doing them by GPS satellites, so it puts everything down to the tenths of an inch and all, so it's made a lot of big differences in
Okay,
it.
thank you for the clarification.
Thank you.
Mr. Bowles, would you like to speak to this?
Commissioner Highlander.
Commissioner Highlander?
I was just going to say, thank you, Chairman. This guy is an asset. I tell you, I say that about a lot of our county employees, but Ronnie Blaylock is an asset to our community, not just my district because he lives in it, but our whole county. And thank you, Ronnie,
Thank
for all
sir.
you do.
Appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Bowles?
Gary Bowles, 5812 Mountain Pass Drive, and I support the resolution. I don't have an issue with the resolution, but I'm glad to see we're doing this because a year or so ago, I started looking into this some and found that Hamilton County does not benefit from any discounts that people could get from National Flood Insurance. So and we just barely comply. I think Mr. Blaylock would probably agree. We're just right on the edge of compliance. So now that we can get in compliance, I hope that the commission and our officials can go forward and do more things so that people can get a discount on flood insurance, because too many more days like today, we're going to need it. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. No more. That's it.
Okay, that concludes building economic. We'll go to zoning. Commissioner Highlander.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Brian, for coming forward. We'll be needing you
problem.
here in just a minute. Madam Clerk, would you read 8825-28, please?
Resolution 825-28, a resolution to rezone from R2 Urban Residential District to C5 Neighborhood Commercial District for the property located at 5515 Main Street.
Thank you. Anyone here in opposition? I believe it was not listed, opposition. Is that correct, Brian?
Mr. Chairman, there was no opposition at Planning Commission. I'm not aware of any opposition on this particular case. And this is in Udawal, Main Street.
Okay. Thank you. We'll bring this one up next week. Madam Clerk, 825-29, please.
Resolution 825-29, a resolution to amend condition number 1 for the Hamilton County Resolution number 324-30B of previous case number 2024-0028 for property located at 9101 Amos Road.
Thank you, ma'am. There was opposition for this. Are they here? Do you know? Someone here in opposition?
I mean, they're behind me here. Yes, they are not.
Okay, would you like to explain what the modification is?
Sure.
And then we'll have the opposition.
Sure, Mr. Chairman. This is case, resolution number 82530. This is not a rezoning case. This is to lift, or actually amend, 2 conditions that were previously adopted by this county commission, which is amend condition number 1 and number 4. This is the site behind Udawal High School for the assisted living facility, if you will. Skip. There we go. So there's 11 conditions on this property. The request is only number 1 and number 4. Number 1, the language in red is what the amended condition will do. It's adding in number 1, developers shall dedicate 10 feet of right-of-way along the entire frontage of the development fronting Snow Hill Road, and they're wanting to add Amos Road. Condition number 4, they wish to amend it as well. Again, the language in red is what the developer wishes to add. The 2 buildings proposed for memory care, assisted living, and active adult uses shall be located within the proposed R3 district and shall not exceed 3 stories. So that was the condition placed on by this body. The applicant went to the Board of Appeals and received a special permit to do a taller building, taller than 2.5 stories at 35 feet. So they wanted to add this condition to amend the condition to add that language approved by Board of Appeals. You can see on the bottom what that special permit was for. This is right now a vacant piece of land, used to be farmland. To the north, a single unit residential. Medical and office to the east. To the south is the school, Ooltewah High School, and to the west is single unit residential. It does have some flooding on the southeast corner of this property. Here's a view of the site from Amos Road. This is a view of the site from Amos Road. This is Amos Road, the site's on the left-hand side. This is the site from Snow Hill Road. This is a view from Snow Hill Road looking into the site. And this is south of the site looking towards the Ooltewah High School. And of course, there is the high school there.
Thank you, sir.
This is west of the site. So there's the site plan submitted with the request. It's a PUD plan. Staff reviewed this and agreed to amend condition number 1, but did not support amending condition number 4, as most buildings around this are 2 stories. The height's very limited. It's a very rural, if you will, area. There was opposition at Planning Commission. Planning Commission agreed with staff, recommended to approve amending condition number 1 and to deny lifting or amending condition number 4 to add the 50-story building.
Okay.
So this comes to this body with a deny lifting, amending condition number 4, but approve condition number 1.
Okay. Thanks, sir. Anyone wants to speak in opposition? Is the developer here? Would you like to speak, sir? Come on up then, please. You need to come first.
Thank you, Mike Price, MAP Engineers. So the request before this body is to amend the conditions here as it relates to the 2 conditions stated. We saw when we were coming back through after revising the PUD plan, making some minor tweaks to it, that there was condition that had been left out in the initial process, and that was that Amos Road should also have the 10-foot dedication of right-of-way. So we thought that that was in keeping with our intent all along, which was to improve both roads, Amos Road as well as Snow Hill Road. The other application was just, or the other point, which was on item number 4, simply dealt with what the Board of Construction Appeals had already approved. We just thought that it would make sense to put that into the record as well. Planning Commission and staff did not agree with that. We're fine with dropping that, as we already have that approval from the Board of Zoning or Construction Appeals Board as it relates to that particular matter, going to a 50-foot height building. I will state that when we initially did the rezoning, I told this body, as I told the Planning Commission, that we would be going forward with that request. So this was not new news. It was not new news when they went before the Appeals Board. Every step along the way, we have been very consistent with regards to what we would look at doing with regards to that one building. I would also note, however, that the request, and this will be part of the next item on the agenda, that we have eliminated one of those 3-story buildings. So with that in mind, this is just simply us amending the plan to make it fit with the new changes, which will be discussed in the next resolution. Thank you very much.
The opposition has 3 minutes.
Kim Hilton, 8618 Snow Hill Road, and I do not remember ever hearing that the building would be 50 stories high. I've been asked in an email and never received information on the height, just 3 stories. The new PUD plan does not meet the zoning regulations. The new R3 zone has a density of 24.65 per acre, which exceeds the max density allowed of 24 per acre. The C5 zone still does not meet certain parameters to serve arterial and collector streets, and all businesses do not offer convenient egress and ingress from those streets. The 2 buildings have been combined into one. They are closer to Snow Hill Road and higher in elevation. When the rezoning was approved by this commission, a height limit of 3 stories was placed, nothing about the feet. In the zoning regulations, the height limit is 2.5 stories or 35 feet. So according to those parameters, 3 stories would be 42 feet. The Board of Zoning Appeals did approve the 50-foot height limit, but certain assumptions were made in that meeting about the height of the assisted living care facility at the corner of Snow Hill and Mountain View Road. A rezoning, a height request was found for that building at the corner of Snow Hill and Mountain View for 3 stories and 42 feet. And so that assumption was made that it was 50 feet, but it's really just 42 feet. And that was approved also by the county commission, and it was limited to 3 stories and 42 feet. So a precedent has been set in our area. There would be no other buildings of this height if it's 50 feet high. I've given you pictures of where that building would be and how it would tower over the buildings on Mountain View Road. So on the main road, the buildings are not even 42 feet. They're much, they're mostly 1-story buildings that are just higher in height. And so that would be towering over it from the background and towering over the high school and where the practice fields are for the kids, practicing ROTC. They practice all kinds of sports in that area. So they're going to have this 50-foot tall building looming and towering over them. So we would ask you to, number one, place a limit on the R3 zone for the max density allowed because it's over. And please do not, approve this height limit. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Rebuttal, sir?
So I have emails that I have sent to Ms. Helton that have answered her questions. So for her to state that she has not received those is an incorrect statement. Secondly, I would like to point out is that it is still a 3-story building. And to use the terms it will tower over is exaggerated hyperbola is what I would describe it as being. This building, where it will be placed and at the height it will be placed, will not even exceed the height of the Ooltewah Gymnasium or the school building itself, because it sits so far down below on the elevation of the property at the very back. So it would not do those things. And to state that 3 stories, we are 3 stories. We have been 3 stories all along. So this is not at all doing anything other than in keeping with what originally was passed by this commission with simply adjusting item number 1. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Schultz, any comment on that?
No, I was gonna say that's correct. I mean, the condition that really needs to be acted on is condition number 1 to add Amos Road. The condition of 3 stories still applies. The applicant did receive from the Board of Appeals a special permit to go to P2. That's already been approved by a different body. So this body would be acting on to amend condition number 1 and to deny amending condition number 4.
For condition number 4, this body does not act on, is that correct?
You'd be denying that amendment to that condition.
Okay, thanks, sir. Okay, Madam Clerk, next, 825-30, I believe is the next one, is it not?
Resolution 825-30, a resolution to rezone from R1 Single Family Residential District, R3 Multifamily Residential District, and C5 Neighborhood Commercial District with conditions to A1 Agricultural District, R1 Single Family Residential District, R3 Multifamily Residential District, and C5 Neighborhood Commercial District with conditions for property located at 9101 Amos Road.
Thank you, and I apologize, I should have bundled these together. Go ahead, Mr. Schultz.
Sure. Can you move the?
And let me go ahead and bundle 31 as well, if I could, please. If you'd read that, ma'am. 825-31.
Resolution 825-31, a resolution granting an amendment to a residential plan unit development as approved by Hamilton County Resolution Number 324-31 of previous case number 2024-0029 for parts of a property located at 9101 Amos Road.
Thank you.
Okay. The first case is resolution number 825-30. This is not a new zoning request. This is simply just adjusting the existing zoning boundaries on this map. You can see it already has zoning approved this body in 2024 for R1, R3, and C5. So it's simply adjusting where those boundaries go on the map. Some areas are being reduced, some are expanding. Same number of units, 447, which was approved last year by this body. Density is 5.78 units per acre. Again, this body approved the rezoning last year with a special permit for a PUD. Here's this overview. The things in red are what's changing. The R1 zone area is being reduced from 70 acres to 69. The 2.9 R3 area is going to be absorbed into R1, so the R3 is being decreased. The R3 is being absorbed also into another area zoned R1. Then the C5 area is being reduced from 1.3 to 1.2 acres. So it's just shifting that around. This is the original PUD plan that was submitted last year. We'll talk about that in the next case on the PUD, but that was the original PUD plan that came before this body last year. Again, there's just an aerial view of the zoning. It's currently there today. Same natural resources. This is in the Wolf River Creek plan adopted in 2007, which recommended very low intensity residential. But this body did approve the rezoning last year, so that has changed the policy. Staff originally recommended to deny this request in 2024 because it did not comply with the adopted plan. Again, this body approved the rezoning. The request is consistent with existing zoning because no new zones are being created. It's just simply adjusting those lines. So staff recommended approve with the same conditions that were approved in 2024, with the exception of the previous case that amended condition number 1 to add Amos Road. So those same conditions would carry over. There was opposition at Planning Commission, and so staff and Planning Commission both recommended to approve with conditions. The next case is the PUD amendment. You can see the area in red. Those are being removed from the PUD. There's a 4-acre area to the right that's being removed from the previous PUD plan to be given to WWTA. And a little small triangle piece to the south, that's 0.15 acres, that's being joined to the 9033 Amos Road, given to them, so they don't need to be part of the PUD. So that's part of the PUD amendment, is to change the boundaries. Let me get, here there are some changes in the development that's being proposed on it. Again, the number of acres is being reduced because those lands are being removed. It's currently 81 acres. Proposed will go to 77. Number of units stay the same at 447. The density on the current PUD is 5.48, but going to the new PUD, because the acres are being removed, it goes up to 5.78 dwelling units per acre. And the acres of community lot is increased from 14.6 to 15. So the biggest changes are here in the type of development that's proposed on it. In the current PUD, it has 90 single-family detached dwellings. That's going to 194. Same number of cottage villas is 3. Active adults on the previous PUD plan was 205, and you can see on the column in the middle, that was broken down by 80 duplex, 24 quads, 71 detached, and 30 flats. That 205 has now been reduced to 75 units. And the number of senior living went up from 149 to 175. So there has been some changing the housing components, but the same number of units overall stayed the same. This is the original PUD plan approved from last year. The biggest change is in the middle and the orange part, yellowish part in the top. That's now going to be more single family detached. And the big blobs at the bottom right are the orange quads. That's the assisted living. That's being shrunk to one building. You'll see it just when I go to the next slide. Again, the circles are what's being removed from the PUD, but you can see this is the new PUD plan the applicant wishes to go seeking approval with. There is open space provided. The PUD, if approved, staff recommends to remove the conditions that are on the PUD because sometimes those get changed. So the conditions need to be removed from the PUD site plan itself. Staff recommended to approve. There was opposition at Planning Commission. Planning Commission felt the request was compatible with what was there before and recommended to approve the revised PUD plan.
Okay, thank you. Would the developer like to comment? Thank you, Mr. Schultz.
Thank you. So as Brian has stated, the plan is essentially the same with a few tweaks, mainly being ones that I would think that Commissioner being in your district, I believe that this was one that you should be able to support, given the fact that we've increased the number of single family. We've increased the number of those that would be in assisted living, both of which with the numbers increasing in the assisted living would put less burden as it relates to traffic onto the roads. Increasing single family over what we had before would also be in keeping, I think, with what people in the district would want to see, more single family versus less, which was part of the original component. I would also point out that, as I stated when this went through the first time, that this development will exceed all total development work that had been ever done to Snow Hill Road. So this increases the development responsibility, developers' responsibility as it relates to dealing with infrastructure, which has been an outcry, as you know, in your district. So we are exceeding every other single development along Snow Hill Road that's ever done anything. So that ought to be, I think, in keeping with what Plan Hamilton has been after, what the residents are seeking to occur in the community as well. We also exceed Plan Hamilton as it relates to setbacks with regards to buffering, and certainly, as I pointed out, with regards to road infrastructure. So given those changes and the density stays the same, the only real change that really necessitated this as much as anything was the dedication of property to the WWTA to address a serious need as it relates to infrastructure, so they could put a tank on a portion of this property as part of the original plan. So
Correct me if I'm wrong, that's for a storage tank, is that correct?
it is for a storage tank, yes, sir.
Not for additional capacity, but for storage from
To
runoff.
address the infrastructure needs in the area.
Correct me, were you able to get the extra footage to widen the road?
We were able to work that out, and that is part of the land swap that is occurring at the corner there at Amos and Snow Hill Road, yes.
That's what I thought, but I just wanted you to clarify that.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So given all of this, I think these are all positive changes as it relates to the plan. And I think that it would, hopefully get the support of every commissioner here on the dais. Thank you.
Opposition like to speak?
Kim Pelton, 8618 Snow Hill Road. And to clarify, I mean, I never got a answer about the height of the building other than 3 stories. I'd received some answers, but not to all of my questions. So again, I would just say that the R3 zone is over the density allowed. Most of the open space is located in the floodplain, and the stormwater ponds are in the floodplain. And as we can see is what's happening now, we don't think that's a good idea. And so the height limit is something that was approved by the Board of Zoning Appeals based on assumptions that another building was 50 feet in height. And this body has the authority to override and place a limit. You know, you would override the Board of Zoning Appeals. So if this is approved by you for 50 feet, instead you could place a limit for 42 feet on it, as the other building is, because this would be the highest building, and it would be behind the buildings on the main road, and it would stick out like a sore thumb. And so we would just ask you to please consider that. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. You care to rebut?
Again, I would simply state that just because one states something doesn't make it fact. This will not be something that will tower, quote unquote, over any of the existing structures. And you've certainly heard no outcry from the Methodist Church, United Methodist, it sits right there behind us. So given that, I think this is, again, an appropriate plan, and it's received the appropriate approvals up to this point. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll bring that up next week.